Hi, my name's Jessica, and I am advocating to stop the stigmas surrounding mental illness. I personally am a part of the mental illness community. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety at the age of 14. With being diagnosed, one of the things I have mainly faced is stigma. A lot of people think mental illness is a choice, it's something that you can simply just get over, and that is not the case. Another big stigma is asking for help, seeking help is attention seeking, and that is also not the case. So, how can you make a difference? How is our community making a difference? That is what I am here to talk to you about today. Firstly, in Breaking the Stigma and Shame of Mental Illness TED Talk, speaker Kitty Weston addresses the issue of unfair treatment among mental illnesses compared to physical illnesses. She discusses this issue because it is an illness that needs to be treated just as any other physical illness. Weston also addresses the get over it mentality with her personal experience of losing her daughter to an illness called anorexia nervosa. One of the primary messages of this talk and Weston's arguments is that no one ever chooses to have a mental illness. As Weston discusses in this speech, her own daughter Anna suffered from an eating disorder. Weston speaks of how friends would tell her, "Kitty, make her eat," as if she didn't think of that, as if it was a choice her or her daughter had control over. Unfortunately, Anna Weston succumbed to her anorexia nervosa and committed suicide. But that is not where Kitty would allow the story to end. Kitty worked with Senator Amy Klobuchar to pass the first mental illness bill pertaining specifically to anorexia nervosa. President Obama signed this bill into law in December of 2015. Weston also started a foundation in her daughter's name called the Emily Foundation to help those suffering from eating disorders. For my secondary source, I did an article called Daily Encounters of Mental Illness Stigma and Individual Strategies to Reduce Stigma. This article analyzed a study, and the purpose of this study was to see what types of encounters people with mental illnesses faced when it came to being stigmatized and what strategies they used to fight the stigma they were facing. The two overarching themes were of public stigma and structural stigma. In this study, there were 62 participants, all who have been diagnosed with mental illnesses, and every single one of the people participating in this study admitted to being stigmatized. The ways they chose to stand up to that stigma were to stand up for themselves, or just overall not disclosing they had a mental illness condition, or personally improving themselves the best that they could and raising awareness by talking about their illness with loved ones, families, friends, in any way they could to normalize speaking about this topic. For my library source, when I met with the librarian, she shared this article with me, Ending Discrimination Against People with Mental and Substance Use Disorders, The Evidence for Stigma Change. This report contributes to national efforts to understand and change attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors that can lead to stigma and discrimination. The Evidence for Stigma Change explores stigma and discrimination faced by individuals with mental or substance use disorders and recommends effective strategies for reducing stigma and encouraging people to seek treatment and other supportive services. It offers a set of conclusions and recommendations about successful stigma change strategies and the research needed to inform and evaluate these efforts in the United States. There are efforts currently being made on the topic of mental illness and stopping the stigma surrounding it. Governor J.B. Pritzker, in the last 3 months, has signed 3 different bills for mental health care. House Bill 2595 expands access to quality and reliable mental health care, which requires every insurance provider to provide coverage for all medically necessary mental health care. This now means in the state of Illinois, insurance providers can no longer argue mental illness treatments and considering them to be non-essential. Governor J.B. Pritzker also passed House Bill 2784. When someone is dispatched through a 911 system, this bill ensures an appropriate mobile response is available, requiring 911 call center operators to coordinate with a mobile mental and behavioral health services unit. However, the downside to this bill is a mobile mental and behavioral health services unit would not respond as quickly as a police officer or fire department would. Lastly, J.B. Pritzker also decided to amend the school code. He now added up to 5 mental health days for children ages 7 to 17 to be excused from school. I know lots of colleges and universities now participate in mental health days, and I think this is a great addition to the school code. Now, on a federal level, the Stop Mental Health Stigma in Our Communities Act was introduced into the House of Representatives. This act requires the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration to develop and implement an outreach and education strategy regarding behavioral health issues. This strategy must be designed to promote behavioral and mental health and reduce stigma associated with mental health conditions and substance abuse among such populations. However, the downside to this bill is it is limited to Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islander populations. This bill needs to be more inclusive. A major organization that contributes to the mental illness culture is NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI is dedicated to provide advocacy, education, support, and public awareness so that all individuals and families affected by mental illness can build better lives. NAMI even has its own personal help hotline. They often host 5K walks to stop the stigma in all major cities. There's even a NAMI office here in Chicago. They recently held a walk on September 18th of this year, just to fight stigma and to encourage people to seek help because of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is currently Mental Health Awareness Month, and I've been very happy to see many social media posts regarding it. One that caught my eye is that without mental health, there isn't health. This positive attitude towards stopping public stigma can be very encouraging to those who need to still seek help. What would I like to learn if I had more time to research? I would love to research stigmas directly surrounding mental and behavioral facilities because currently I feel like there is a negative stigma. And then another topic I'd also be interested in learning more about is what is the major contributor to these stigmas and how did they originate? Because it would be great if we could stop the problem right at the source. If I could choose more sources to read or watch about on this topic, I would absolutely choose to do TED Talks. TED Talks I find to be most interesting and very informative with a way of engaging with you. Not like a piece of writing could or just any normal video. So I would choose to do a TED Talk. I did use a TED Talk in my current video, but I believe the 2 TED Talks I linked here could actually expand my knowledge a lot more.